and the speaker is Tomáš Dvořák from Amanita Design. He came to us from Prague. And I can read you the very, very long biography, but I think that strengthening only the most important things because the biography is in the folder. But he's a composer, producer, and multimedia artist from Prague. In 1996, he started to compose under the project name Floex, you can see it, and his debut album, Pokustone, gained Angel Award in 2001 and nomination to European Quartz Awards. Later on, in 2011, he releases his new album, Zaria, and who also received 2 Angel Awards in electronic music and alternative music category, and also has been nominated to Apollo and Vinyl Awards. I'm sure we'll have a great magic time together here, so I don't want to take your time, but I'm giving the floor to Tomáš to show you and to introduce you to some music and magic. Tomáš, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so thank you for the introduction. I will just continue that beside my musical work, like what was mentioned, I also work on the multimedia stuff, like I do artworks and I also work with the image. And that's how I got to Amanita Design, the gaming company which I work with for a long time. I made several projects with them and I will be showing the latest one, Samorost 3. But if you would like to find out something more about my stuff, it's on the website. But let's get to the Samorost 3. And before I start, maybe I would just like to ask one question. How many people are like musical professionals or people who are like practically musicians, you know? Great, good to know, because I can customize a bit the lecture. So I will start with more general stuff, but maybe in the later part there will be more like some insights, you know, and more geeky things, so hope all will enjoy it. So Samorost 3, made by Amanita Design, is our latest project, and Amanita Design is small indie studio based in Prague. We are currently around 20 people, but it's because there are separated teams who work on different projects. So usually a team has about 5-6 people, as ours for the Samorost 3 had. This is a few of our games we did recently, or in our history. I guess maybe you know Machinarium or Botanicula or the Samorost 3, you know, all the parts of our like game history. And I would like to introduce you our crew who worked on the Samorost 3 shortly, beside me, of course. So this is our boss. He's very, you know, hard. It's Jakub Dvorský, who like established the studio, and he made first project as actually schoolwork because he studied animation in Prague University, and it was Samorost 1 actually, and then it was just a web project, but it gained good reaction, and he started to develop the studio slowly with the projects. With each project, it was growing and growing. So now we are quite, you know, established and so on. And this is our graphic and visual artist, Adolf Lachmann, in his studio. He's a very nice guy and very friendly. I think he's very also positive, the most positive guy, you know, the opposite of Jakub as you saw him. And always when he comes into office, he tells everybody that he's great and genius and so on. So it gives us like good like favor. And he works in the different city in Pardubice, but he often goes to Prague and we like game together. This is our animator, Václav Blín, who made all the animations in the game. He is one of the first people who started to work with Jakub. He made even the first project with him, so they are very like connected. This is our engineer and programmer. He made a game just in one person, which was really hard, and he got almost crazy from that. But now he's like recovering, so he's now having better time. Yeah, and also I would like to shortly introduce you our audio department, which I was kind of leading. It consists of 3 people, and it's really a bit hard to define who makes what. Of course, I was making music, but also I was making quite a lot sound design, especially if it was something more special for the game. I work on the atmospheres, and I was making quite a lot voice recordings. Then we had Tomáš Dvořák, another Tomáš Dvořák. It's kind of coincidence because we have the same name, so it causes lots of confusion. So I'm Tomáš Dvořák, he's also Tomáš Dvořák. We have just nickname, I'm Floex, and he is Piff. So that's like this. And he made all the sound effects and Foley recordings, and he made a lot sound integration, and he's very also organized person. Is kind of my opposite, so he also like was making this, all the like frame for the work, which was really good. Besides that, he is making financial and legal stuff and paperwork in the Amanita Design, so it also shows it he's organized. But he is really nice because he has very unique approach, despite he is not like professional who would make it just like sound just for his living. He makes it like basically just with the Amanita Design, but that's I think very good because he has some distinguishing approach. He makes lots of things just with mouse, and he records original sounds. This small picture what you see, it's from the cottage of Jakub, where he is collecting lots of old things and some rubbish and stuff like that, and he uses for the recording this stuff too. That's just like example. And then the third person, it's our sound production guy, Matouš Godík. He's my good friend, and he is a great engineer, sound engineer, one of the greatest in Czech Republic, I would say. And he also mixed and now mastered my albums. Well, like Samorost 3 was mixed by me, but he mastered that, and he made all the sound post-production on the game, which was very important because we really were focusing on the quality of the sound in the game, and I hope you can feel it. So every sound went through his hands, and he was optimizing that and improving the sound generally. And these are our basic focuses, but it was really very interactive. So if somebody we felt is good for some particular thing, he just made it, and there were no direct boundaries. We worked very organically. And just to finish that kind of insight into our working process, it starts with the script what Jakub makes. It's just written like that, and everybody is using that as Bible, and then the game is slowly being developed, but I didn't make music when the game was finished. I made it based on the script, based on the animation and so on, because it wouldn't be possible to make it later. So I made some musical sketch, and I implemented that sketch into the game, and then we were seeing how it works and improving and so on. So that was basic workflow. Beside that, we use a lot Google Documents with lots of references for the bug list, for the to-do list, and I had special document for the dramaturgy. And of course we use Skype because I, for example, not in the office with Amanita because I'm in my studio. Some other guys like programmer, and as I mentioned, our visual artist Adolf, he is not from the same city, so we use Skype quite a lot. But anyway, let's get to the game. So maybe I play the trailer first. Okay, so this was the trailer. Just to introduce shortly the game, Samorost 3 is puzzle point and click adventure game developed by Amanita Design, of course. It's the third video game title in the Samorost series and the sequel to Samorost 2. It is the first game in series that is full length and with the full HD graphics. The story will take place across 5 planets and 4 moons. As Samorost 3 begins, a little space gnome, you saw in the picture, finds a strange magical flute that falls from the sky. He uses the instrument powers to uncover hidden secrets of the world, travel to the cosmos in search of its origin, and scoring the alien landscape for 5 planets and 4 moons to solve clever mysteries along the way. Each of Samorost 3 organically inspired biomes presents uniquely colorful world full of hidden surprises and achievements for keen players to discover. Samorost is atmospheric game. By this I mean that we are stressing the environmental aspect of the game. We were trying to create space which is just beautiful to stay, to be. It's not just about, completing some task. Our game is sometimes called like interactive movie also. So the artwork and the graphic and the sound is really crucial. And in the sense of art, people in Amanita Designs are perfectionists, I would say, and try to put their art vision into the edge. And as you have seen, we are working in the small team, so it took us to finish this game actually for 5 years, and I worked on the projects for 2.5 years, and just the music has about 3 hours, and there is lots of other stuff that I have mentioned previously, so it's quite the biggest project for us we have ever made in our studio. I would like to now show you some concept behind the music. First, it will be more general, and then I will go to more like complete and concrete examples. There are, as I have already said, planets, and I have tried to make concept for each planet. So they have different sound and different like feeling. Sorry. This is the yes. This is the first planet. It's where the gnome lives. And this is, I think, most connected with the previous title, Samorost 2. And I even like try to use the similar instruments. Sometimes I used like even like the same. For example, in a minute you will hear some strange metallic sound, and it's my heating, but I played a lot. Because it was like a funny sound. So I use that sound also in like previous part. So this is, I think, most like connected with the previous title. But I already had some hard time to define this music here, because when you make for the first songs for the soundtrack. You have to like think conceptually what is going to be it like. So, for example, making this song took me a long way, because it's one of the first songs in the game. And I made lots of like examples which I was like exchanging with Jakub, and he said his opinion on that. And I originally wanted to make the soundtrack more acoustical. I just wanted to make it different than the previous. So the plan was to make it like, with the live musicians and so on. But it didn't felt very well for the project. It was just too ordinary. So besides, I have used some live musician in the working process. In the end, it's not totally based like what was my original idea, but just because I think I'm strong in developing that sound more further. So in the soundtrack there is lots of acoustical sources. Actually, even if you don't recognize it, there is lots of like sounds which are originally acoustical, but you wouldn't probably always recognize it because it's processed and developed. So it's in the end again kind of mixture. And beside that, I also was experimenting a lot with the instruments itself. Like I tried to make some very crazy hybrids of acoustical instruments, like connecting different instruments together, which I will show some things. I will show some things later as example. So this was the first planet. This is the second. This is a very like organical planet. There is like fur and you can see it mushrooms and stuff like that. So I really went for that, and I used, for example, a lot organical sources. Like I used vegetable, for example. This song is made out of vegetable mostly, which is not my primal idea. Like maybe Vegetable Orchestra, guys from Vienna who conceptually just play the vegetable. But it just felt very well for that part, so I used it, and I used like lots of things like carrots and asparagus and mushrooms and stuff like that. I will also show like later. And I made some like tricky processing with this stuff. For example, one of the examples is I sampled cauliflower, and I sampled it in very high sample rate, 196, because then you can convert it much more like into the down frequencies. You can like pitch shift it down, and you can use it as bass without losing the quality. So for example, in this song, it's used for the bass. So the bass is made of the vegetable too. Okay, this is the third planet. It's very desert and wooden, and it was the closest, like in the conceptual. I cooperated on that planet with my friend, violoncellist Tomáš Dvořák. He played, besides violoncello, he played erhu, which is Chinese traditional instrument, which is great because it can make kind of sound like somebody would strangely singing, and we use it for some singing of mushrooms and some other like elements in the game. And also he used ancient, like older instrument, which you can hear now. Viola gamba from the Baroque times, kind of predecessor of cello. Okay. This is the other planet. It's our volcanic planet. It's the most synthy planet. I used synthesizers a lot in this planet, but also in quite unusual way, because I try to make it very like 60s, 70s sound. Sometimes quite funny, But I used a lot of like analog stuff for that planet. Besides analog synthesizers, I used a lot of like space echoes, and I have Vermona spring reverb. And all these things created this, kind of old, more rusty element, because I think it's quite opposite of the previous one. If Termite Planet is very airy, and light, I even try to make mixes more like light, not too much bass, and heavy instruments. This is opposite. It's very like rocky, so the sound should be more dense and heavy, basically. So that's what I try to express sonically here. For example, strings here are processed through tape, so you can hear that kind of mellotron kind of sound. All these elements are completed together. This is the last one. On this planet, there are monks, and it's kind of, for me, like Far Eastern. So I used a lot gongs and gamelans, which like Indonesian basically instruments. And I was using these instruments almost in every song. So it is very like quite narrow concept. But it's mixture, because originally gamelan instruments are tuned in different relationships, tonal relationships. So the feeling is a bit kind of European, Far Eastern or something like that. So this is the last planet. Besides that, there is many like puzzles and more specific music in the game, which work kind of out of that general concept of the planets. This is, I guess, my most favorite song from all the soundtrack. It's for the card game in the first planet. It's called Prattle Hunters, because there are kind of really like prenatal figures who shows our origins, and we are completing some puzzle with these figures and animals. This is the theme for the evil like monk from the game. So as you hear, it's also quite different than all the other parts. I also worked quite a lot with the themes in the game, usually connecting the characters or some motifs. One of the example is this. This is main music from the game. It's the main theme, which is the song that you can hear like in the beginning of the game, like in the intro part. But I used the same motif for the other parts, which you probably can recognize. This is the final part, so this is kind of remix of that main motif. It helped me a lot. I didn't really use in the previous works this connection of the motifs, because in the previous soundtracks it was very separated. Because you had always the screen, and then you made particularly music for that screen. But the new Samorost is very open. The gnome can go wherever he wants, and the connection really also for me the easy way to work musically also, because I created one theme and then I was changing its face, and it was very inspirational for me. And I didn't get so much troubles, with the getting stuck over some music. So it was quite also nice way for me to work. Yes, this is the theme. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something, I hope, funny. This is a video I was collecting from the making of the game, and it will show some insight of our working process.
Doufám, že nějak zakončí.
Hey! It's air who I previously mentioned. Use the metal elements to make it more like rustling sound. this is my basic instrument I play from 6 years old, so we had to use it in the game too. It's in the office of Amanita, where Tomáš works. Okay, that's everything I've got. I collected through the recording and through the creative process when making the game. So, now I will explain some more things in the detail. I already mentioned that I try to make lots of music from acoustical sources. I created kind of electroacoustical hybrids, I would almost say, for each planet a bit different. And just to show you my environment, this is my studio where I worked. So it's mixture of like in-the-box stuff and lots of like analog stuff too, and lots of instruments. There are some of them. I have already you already saw my clarinet in the previous video. I use it for the flute. We call it flute, but it's kind of early clarinet, we could say, you know. Just because I played from 6 years old, and I think it was really one of the conceptual ideas we had from the beginning to work with our, you know, things which has history in our own like mythology. So there are other examples, but before you already heard it in the. This is when Gnome is actually trying to learn it, so it's kind of not perfectly played. Another example, it's this small layer I used. I also experimented with the mutations, for example, I played the metal parts on it and so on, but in this example, you can hear it played it plucked, and also there are parts played on the bow, by bow. I used a lot flutes generally in the game because for me the flute has very special character. First of all, it has some kind of connection with the voice, human voice, and we use it a lot for not only music but also for expressing some sounds of different creatures, and there is lots of ghosts and spirits in the game, so we use that also for that. So I used a lot of different from the most professionals like this Moek flute, but I often use just the upper part till the very basic ones and almost toy ones, you know. This one is the Moek. It's the big one, tenor flute. Okay, so I have already mentioned the vegetable. So this is the example of the recording. there's some other like instruments I used, and I would like to stick out the. Oh, I forgot the name. Jewish. Oh, okay, sorry, I can't remember the name, but it's this instrument. It has lots of different sorts over the world. It's very interesting because, for example, my friend is collecting them, and he has the instruments from Europe, from Asia, from America, and they have very different kind of how they are made. But the metal one you see is the most ordinary. You can like get in every shop almost. And I used it for the bugs, which are a lot in the game, and you can play them. But soon I got I was missing more sounds because I needed lots of different sounds of that kind. So I had to buy a new. And for example, the one you see on the picture, it's very special. It's the Chinese one, and it's interesting because it's polyphonic. Usually you can just play one tone on it, but this one has 8 tones, so you can only play melody on it. This is the example of the usage. Yes, when you play the bugs. Tentacles. I even played the bicycle I own. It is very great sound if you play the metallic parts here, and I use it for the Monk Planet. Yeah, this light percussive elements, they are from the bicycle, and it's played with the different, sticks. And the nice thing about it that it's not totally tuned, so you can like go a bit out of the, the system, which is especially fitting to that planet, because as I have said, like the gamelan and gongs, they have a bit different tuning usually. So this is another like picture from my studio with all the instruments, and I used, of course, some analog gear and other like electronic stuff. This is my favorite synthesizer, Roland SH09. I used it for the more heavy themes, like this fight theme. I have already mentioned I used some analog stuff, like old school. This is like Space Echoes I used, and the Spring Reverb. It's all like real. And these synths. They are used in this example. Yes, I often in the studio have things connected, and I use the things in the same way always. Like I don't like totally change configurations. I think when you are in the creative process, you don't really want to mess up with the stuff. So I often work like separately on creating environment. By this I mean like I find out how things work well together, and I just have them ready in the studio, and then I run the signal through them. And these are some example of my like channels or like typical connections. This is, for example, like Moog effects with the Spring Reverb, or another is this cork with the tube zipper distortion. These are some inbox sound banks I used in the game too. So, and I would like to finish with one case study example. This is the puzzle I did for the game. And it's actually very simple. It was made out of the flute, out of the big tenor flute you saw, the moek. But there were some processing going on. This is example like how I, created the sounds. The basic sound, like what you saw when you roll the spirit in the cycle, is made out of the flutes, which were played in this harmonical like chord, and also I made more sounds from them, like this when I blow, very like timbre-like into the flute. And then I mixed down the whole mix of the sounds and put it into the sampler, so I could play it, by the keyboard and maybe play more sounds together. So this is the sound you could already probably recognize from the from the game. To make it even like better and illustrate the cycling of the spirit, I played it with the pitch of that mix. Then I bounced it down back into the audio. And this is the final loop, basically. More sounds here. Which are all made on the tenor flute with different pitches and effects. This effect was used for that sound when the part of the spirit goes away. Yes, that's all. So I guess that's all I have got to maybe continue with some, or finish with some possible question you have.
Okay. Thank you. I'm curious, when you were working on Samorost 3, have you had some classical music inspirations?
You mean like particular composer, or
yes,
more
composers,
general?
maybe some techniques. I heard minimalism, maybe glass, and I'm curious, maybe there is someone's.
Yeah, it's actually hard to classify like that, because for me it's like, I have my database of inspiration, which I collect all the life, and then probably when I make some song, something can like connect. So definitely like minimalism is there, but I wouldn't say there was like direct connection like with some composer or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
I have a question about those awesome voiceovers. Some of them were quite musical. They included melody in them, and how much of that is an improvisation of a voice actor, and how much of that is a melody you gave them as a reference? Yeah,
it was usually cooperation. Actually, I had some other video here. I can show you a bit of it. So that's why how we make salamanders. So this is my original, ideas for the salamanders, for example. I tried to sing, but then the guy you saw it in the video, Miloš, started to improvise on that ideas, and he improvised really well. So this is, for example, already his voice. We used in this example tricky things with pitch shifting, because we had to slow it down and reconstruct, because I didn't want to make compressed pitch shifter. So he had to sing it in different pitch, and then we reconstructing the. But anyway, so this is example of what I have.
Okay. Thank you.
I wanted to ask, when you decide the theme for a planet, did you get the whole planets ready and you saw the designs and then you decided that this planet will have this theme, or you got just one and you went with the gut feeling? You know, you just...
I'm not totally sure if I understand the question, but for me it's not only about the theme, like, you know, melodical theme. It's very much about the whole like idea of the sound, and it's probably even like more important. Like,
yeah, but I know I'm speaking little confusing. I mean about that you told that it was important for you that every planet had a different music, and I was wondering if it was planned as a whole. You know, you got the whole list of planets, or was it just one? You got just one, and one after another.
Yeah, it was. I would say, sorry for confusing you both, because I had original idea for every planet. But then when I started to work on it, it changed a bit, because, you know, when you get the when you're interacting with the music and you see the like results of your like ideas, time doesn't work exactly what you have like imagined, and you have to change the concept. But I had the original like concept for every planet from the beginning, but it was a bit like going in its direction later, I would say.
Thank you, and I wanted to say that your lecture was really great.
A stupid question. Which vegetable did you find the coolest to record from? Which gave you the most sounds, etc.?
It's usually well, it wasn't hard, except you have to record it very closely, because it's not very loud sound. So then you can have problem with the aggressivity. So you have to have really like quiet microphones and so on. But I'm sorry, I just have problem with English, because I would like to tell you like my favorite. But actually, it was on the picture. What you saw on the picture, this white big carrot, which I don't know how it's called in English. It was really good. I used actually a drill to make the hole inside, to make the sound more like, you know, to make it really like very open sounding. And then it was really possible to use it like even tonally. As I said, like I used that kind of thing for the bass, for example. So it was really like real instrument.
Did you use piezo microphones?
No, because they can be like nice for experiments, but they don't have very good sound. Mm-hmm. It's very like rusty and like limited. So I used like condensers for that.
Speaking of microphones, we saw that I saw about 2 models of microphones you have. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what was the models of this microphone?
Yeah, I like really Gefell, which is like a company connected with the Neumann. They like split around the Second World War, but some engineers say they are like the better part of the Neumann. They were like in Eastern Germany basically. So I use lots of Geffells, like even like big ones, and also like now I bought the smaller, and I have also like vintage one, which you saw on the picture, and I use good preamps. I have now like LTD one by Chandler, which is really good sounding. But it's all of this, I think, generally in the microphones and the preamps, it's very much about the palette, what you want to have. Like, I wouldn't say that one sound is like universal for everything. For example, if I want to have really like firm and dense sound, I use this Chandler LTD one with the old Neumann. And if I want to have more light sound, I use the more modern microphones. So I think it's really about your focus, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. One more question, yes?
One production question. What did you have when start working with this game, art, content, and another? And what did you have when you end your job?
If you mean like when working on the Samorost?
Yes.
I saw this script like on the picture. this was my like beginning, you know, like reading the script and imagining how the game like scene would be like, and then I was getting the animations and all the other stuff. But then you really have to see how it works in the game, and I played the game like hundreds of times to check how it works like dramaturgically and how it's implemented. It was an important part of the job. So
you can play game when you start already. You can play.
No, later,
or
just later. You know, when it's because we work in real time. Like programmer made his part, I made his part. He implemented. Then we tried, then he improved, and I improved my part, and so on. You know, so it wasn't like something after something, but it was like parallel process basically.
How you implemented your sounds and music in game? Asked about it programmers or something.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
How you add your music and the sound to the game? Add programmers or something?
Yeah,
you pipeline.
Yeah, we have the programmer who implements it, and we use actually a very simple like way to do it. We have like these documents in Google, and we write in tasks to the programmer how he should implement it. He implements, then I check it and write him like comments on it, and you know things like that goes over the time, over and over. Very easy.
Okay, thank you.
I'm afraid we have to finish on time, so maybe last question. If not, I would like to thank you very much, Tomáš, for the great presentation. Take us to the wonderland of music and magic. Thank you very much.